I would like to use some metaphor, not from football this time, but from film. I want to go back to my favorite film, which is Life of Brian, Monty Python, if the people remember this one. And there is this famous scene in there where the People's Judean Front is having another meeting to discuss their strategy to fight the Romans. Sorry about the Italians here. So they're going to fight the Romans, but they keep having meetings and events and resolutions and documents. And someone says, no, we should have action now. We've spoken enough, we've had enough meetings, so let's have action. And they all agree, and the final conclusion was, okay, let's have another meeting about it. I think that's sort of, I'm sorry about that, Kurt, to use that, but for me it epitomizes the situation of Europe, in particular when we're talking about critical raw materials. I've been working in this field now since the rare earth crisis, which was 2010. We had several critical metals lists published by the European Commission since then. I think we have the 5th one out recently. And what has actually fundamentally changed in those 13, 14 years? Nothing. We still have no rare earth mine, we still have no lithium mine, we still have no lithium refinery. It still takes 15.6 years to open a new mine in Europe. The Chinese do this in less than a year. The Chinese build a lithium refinery faster than we can build a house. So if you want to use metaphors, we're doing a race where the Chinese are driving a Ferrari, electric one, and we are using, I'm not going to name any negative brands here, but we're using a very old car with this bad internal combustion engine, very slow, no acceleration. How can we compete? I think that's really, for me, the metaphor of our situation today. And I think especially if you go to the general public, they have no clue of what is happening at the moment. They have no clue that Europe is at risk of becoming an industrial museum. And make no mistake about it, I am from the Green Party originally. I am greener than anyone here in this audience. I have been fighting for climate change since donkey's years, and I still am. But I think we have to stop being naive, because we are extremely naive. When I look at the Critical Raw Materials Act, the big question now is, okay, we have this beautiful document. It was very fast in producing it. We did it in less than a year, actually. So that's a world record for Europe. But now we have to implement it. And when I speak to people from companies, I already see that they are really worried that their strategic projects that they now have to announce to the European Commission, that once they have to go back to their member states, that they will be facing the same problem, because the legislation is full of silos. So we might have the silo of the CRMA, which wants to open critical raw material mines. For example, the Pergeir, let's use that one. I think that's a brilliant example for this meeting room here, because it combines steel, iron ore, with my favorite passion, rare earths. It's a mine that combines iron ore enriched with rare earths in apatite. So that particular mine could really solve the whole of European rare earth dependency problem just by opening that. And additionally, well, actually it's the main driver, of course, you get loads of cheap, good quality iron ore. But if you speak to Jan Muström about how many years do you think it's going to take to open this mine, he's like, yeah, 2035 maybe. Is that really the best we can do? It's not going to work like that. We really have to be faster. We have to be more agile. The Chinese are so agile, and I think we really need to develop a European answer to the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative model, an answer towards the American Inflation Reduction Act. And frankly speaking, I don't think we have found it at this moment. And now my real worry is that with the next European elections, that it will become even more difficult, because all focus will be lost. We'll be focusing more on migration issues, on military issues. I'll probably even forget about climate change. So I'm really worried about what is going to happen after the next European elections. I'm really worried about the implementation of the Critical Raw Materials Act, because on paper it's great. That document is really a masterpiece of text. If we would really implement what is written there, we could really solve Europe's problem. I think we're speaking here about the steel industry, we're speaking about the wind turbine industry, the car industry, so that's all wonderful, but we need the materials. We need critical raw materials for making steel. We need critical raw materials like rare earth for producing your generators of your direct drive wind turbines. We need the stainless steel scrap. We need that to stay in Europe. And now it's going outside of our borders because we can't even keep it in Europe, full of nickel, and we're just throwing it away basically. So there's a lot of possibilities there, but without a change in mindsets, without a change in attitude, I think we'll still be in a business as usual scenario. And that's my worry. I get invited to a lot of these events, Euromines, Eurometaux, EUROFER, and I seem to repeat myself every time. Probably you too as well. The good thing is we have Šefčovič, who speaks a bit like Jurgen Klopp, who is the manager of my favorite football team, and he has a will-do mentality, and that's what we also really need in our next European Commission, our next European Parliament. We're going to need that kind of figures who want to really change things and not just keep talking, because then we are definitely lost forever.